gram true and honest with some width underneath, I think that sheep will feed for a long time, and as its flank comes into heel proportion, it'll look a little nicer from the outside. The sheep here in second, some of the same can be said. This one's really square right out of his shoulder. He's got a big hip in him as you get in from behind him. We'd like to make his forerib just a little better as you get in a 3/4 angle. We like to bowl him up just a little bit right out of his blade there. Maybe give him more sweep to his rib, but I think his look and balance up front sure awful nice as you get off to the side of him. The sheep in third intrigued me a lot. When we get that one propped up, I like his kind. He's a notch more modern than the two ahead of him. I like his extra width and power there. His freshness to the touch is very good. What I don't like about him is the way he goes into motion. He wants to get out past his body pretty hard, hits on the outside of his toes there when you watch him go. We need to collect that when it's putting together for a young one that does that. Also, he runs downhill just ever so slightly or a little level at best. We've changed him there, but I do like his power. The 1 in 4, there's times that I do appreciate this one. I think when he gets his brains together for him and shows for the young lady, he'll look a little better. But when he doesn't, he wants to get up in his loin there. He really breaks hard right there in his loin. He wants to look a little tight in his rib and his body right now. A little bit of that just because he's green. I do appreciate that one though from his shoulder back. He gets a little low in his neck set as well. Old black sheep's hard to look at out here just because he's so charcoal black. But you tell you what, you get off of this guy studying, his sweep to his body's good, he's good in his lines, he's never going to be real big. I promise you that. That sheep's going to have some muscle though, got some width. Just like to make him a little more extended a little later, but sure, still a nice sheep. From there, we got lots of differences in maturity and type out here, but an awful nice class. And congratulate all these young people for doing a nice job.
Your results for the Class 1 of the Junior Market Lambs. In 9th place, Mariah Singleton. 8th place, Olivia Wolick. 7th place, Caitlin Blackwell. 6th place, Grace Yonker. 5th place, Sadie Weatherly. 4th place, Taylor McGill. 3rd place, Ariel Stratton. 2nd place, Brayden Fuentes. And your Class 1 winner, Jason Jason Price.
Back in with you in a second. Alright, sounds good. See you soon.
This is the last call for Braden Bowers. Braden Bowers, your lamb is needed ringside. Last call, Braden Bowers. This is the first call for Class 3 market lambs. First call, Class 3. Now entering the ring is Class 2 market lambs weighing 111 to 118. Second call for Class 3 market lambs, weighing 120 to 121 pounds. Second call, Class 3.
Well, I tell you, an awful nice set here, and you can tell the quality is going to be good as we go through these today. And I hope that this is a true indication of what's yet to be seen. But really a nice one that starts this class off. This one hits me hard. He was kind of late getting to the ring here when he walked in, though, but he gathered my attention relatively quickly when he did so. That one props up awful nice from a three-quarter view and from the side. And then you get in, you get your hands on him. Certainly doesn't disappoint you. That one's big up high. He's as good handling as anyone out here. I think he puts together an awful lot of nice pieces here. Go ahead and start this particular group. From there, you got to make some decisions. I like this sheep in second a whole lot, though. I tell you, he's just youthful up through its front end. I still read him very good there. Extremely shapely and hard muscle. Maybe not quite as cool looking in terms of running uphill as the one that leads out, but in terms of the way he's made underneath, I think he props up and presents himself awful nice. Maybe not quite as stout in his feature, probably the one that's a little more immature in his look than the one ahead of him, but I do like that one an awful lot. He goes out here in the second, his handle and expression. 3 and 4, you got to make some decisions here, and if you like that pair differently than me, I wouldn't argue with you a great deal. I like the presence of the one in third through the front half of his body in terms of his chest floor, the way his neck comes out of his shoulder, and you read him up high. I certainly think he's got enough power to go with it. We like to change him out of his hip and off of his hind leg ever so slightly. He's pretty short from his hooks to his pins, and that translates right to his hock, and the way he handles his hind leg, he just plants his little two posts and straight there for me. The sheep coming out, of course, does have more width, and if you just want one that's a little more of a man, I can tie into him. With that, he gets plenty coarse, a little more open in the bottom of his shoulder, a little deeper, wants to break ever so slightly from his loin to his hook bones today. But I tell you, there's an awful lot of power there. He's a big foot and stout feature one, presented awfully well to go with it. One coming out here in 5, young lady's got this one handling good. He's fresh, he's hard back, shapely. We get him into motion though. He's a little frailer in his design at the ground in terms of his truth, but he wants to get his hock out a little bit more for me. Wants to break in his loin there ever so slightly. But I tell you, you got him dialed in terms of his handle. One that's good there, just like to make him a little better at the ground in terms of his feet and legs. But I tell you, a good set of sheep here. This was a competitive set from top to bottom all the way through. We got one next in line. Man, he's got as much muscle as any. His mama didn't bless him with good looks though up front. He's a little coarse and plain. We got the next one there that's a really good looking one there. He's a shot more to him though from behind. Great set of sheep here. Congratulations to all of them.
First call for Class 4 Market Lambs to the holding ring. First call, Class 4 Market Lambs to the holding ring. The results from Class 2 of the Market Lamb Show is 14th place, Aaron Riffle. 13th, Tyler Yazzie. 12th, Carter Junkins. 11th, Carly Klitz. 10th, Trey LaRocca. 9th, Jacob Cotton. 8th, Piper John. 7th, Gracia Ellis. 6th, Avery Sawyer. 5th, Lori Wade. 4th, Parker Liska. 3rd, Grace Jensen. 2nd, Hadley Owens. And your Class 2 winner, Braden Bowers. Now in the ring is Class 3, the Market Lamb Show. Second call of Class 4 Market Lambs to the holding ring. Second call of Class 4. Class 5, please be ready. Final call, class 4, market land for the holding ring. 5, please start making your way over there.
Actually, could you bring me your water? Wait, thank you so much.
set here, and it comes down to really, for me, in my mind at least, a pair of them on the top end. I like both those sheep quite well. I like them for different reasons, but I do like both of them quite a bit. The sheep we elected to start with, I think it's probably his combination of traits. And when you put him into motion, he comes together as good as any. He's as correct in his angles and his feet and legs as any in here. And I think he's got the right kind of touch and handle right out of his shoulder blade. He needs to be a little better fronted. He needs to be taller at the point of his shoulder. He needs to run uphill just a nickel more, and that would really enhance his look from the outside. But I certainly think he's acceptable, and from there back, he has the most positive traits. Gray sheep here at times, he puts together a nice look. I want to call him better chested and better in terms of his underline, but at the same time, I'd like to change his hip. And the way he studied him, from his hooks to his pins, he gets plenty short. He gets a little rounder there. When we put him into motion, he doesn't flex off of him quite as good as the one ahead of him. I do call the front third of his body just a little better, but another one is not overly big in his kind, never going to be a very big sheep, but I call him certainly acceptable. The 1 in 3 is the most exotic one out here, and you got to decide what you're going to do with him, because he's as hard muscled and as tall fronted and as good looking as any, but he's not overly wide right now. He's the skinniest one out here to go with it. He's the most washed out and the greenest in his edges. Probably needs to be just a notch bolder in his pin up high for me too. But man, you get off to the side of him and those look behind me, you can appreciate his look and his silhouette, because it's nice. You just need to bulk him up just to give you a notch more shape. The one coming out here in 4, if you want to call him the more powerful one, you might want to move him up a spot. And I wouldn't argue with you a great deal, just in terms of volume and mass of muscle. He's not overly shapely, though. For as wide as he is, he's kind of gloss shaped up high. He's big and bold and wide. We just like to give him more terminal shape for me as you get up on top of him. And then you read him from the side, and his underline's not quite right. He wants to get a little deep up front, kind of come back up into his chest there for me. But one that certainly does have a tremendous amount of real product and mass. One coming out of here in 5. He didn't get the initial sword, and I tell you, there's times he just reads to me a little round in his skeleton, but he's got so much true power at the end of the day when we kept studying and analyzing, because I like his handle. I call him a little coarse in terms of his neck set and the way his shoulder blade reads there, but I needed him just to have a notch more shape and power. So much stouter, put it at the ground than the ones that coming next in line, and that's why he ends up being 5. The 1 in 6 does have a nice look. Young man does a good job getting that one collected. He needs to be stouter featured. It'd be nice if he had a little more leg wool up front. Just aesthetically pleasing it would be, but he does have a nice look from the side. Young lady's got one next in line. He didn't hit me right off. The more I studied him, the more I liked him. I'd like to change his way he's designing his shoulder blade and his knee. He wants to come way out at his knee when we get him into motion. But tell you, a nice set of sheep here. Congratulations to all of them. They did a nice job.
Delaney McLean to the holding ring. Delaney McLean to the holding ring. The results from class 3 in 10th place, Mason Kalin. Ninth place, Kylie Nugent. 8th place, Cassidy Lim. 7th, Izzy Klaus. 6th, Bryce Bain. 5th, Kendra Smith. 4th, Anna Stratton. 3, Shay Barnes. 2nd, Christopher Turner. And your class 3 winner is Hannah Seaver. Now in the ring is class 4, Market Lambs. This is the first call for Class 5 of the Market Lambs. First call, Class 5. Class 6, please be ready. Second call on Class 5 of Market Land. Second call, Class 5, Class 6, be heading over. Kylie Nugent and Jade Pereira to the holding ring. Kylie Nugent, Jade Pereira. First call for Class 6 of the Market Lands. First call of Class 6.
Well, I tell you, I'm certain that these top 5, if we polled the audience, everybody out here has got a favorite, and every one of these sheep would win the class. And depending on where you want to lay your priorities, I could see you switching all 5 of these around, and I wouldn't have a great deal of heartburn with you, because I think there's some positives in each one of them. What I will tell you is the one I landed on, while he's not perfect, he's awful good, particularly from right here, from that side profile. I think his silhouette's awful neat. I think he's got more than an adequate amount of shape up high, and he's as bold and as square an actual turn to his edge as any. You know, probably not as much gluteal shape from the side. If we're going to change him, we're going to give him just more leg and stifle shape there from the side. He's got a rear pasture. He gets a little funky on it at times, and if we will pick on him, that's where we would do it as well. But I think that one's underlined, and the way he proportions there from the side is awful unique. That's a really nice sheep to win this particular class. The one here in second, I want to call him stouter, but in all reality, he's not any bolder and squarer than the one that wins. He is bigger in his hip and his pin. He's got more shape to his stifle, and probably bigger in terms of his feature at the ground. My problem with that one is when we get him into motion, his neck set's just a little low. He wants to roll into his shoulder a little more as we watch him go. Not quite as unique in terms of a balanced look as the one ahead of him, but certainly more powerful. Good bodied one as well. That sheep that wins that class is good bodied too. One coming out of here in third, I mean, when you walk up on one, you talk about that old white face and white leg. Well, he's got some cool feature to him. When you get your hands on him, you'll like him as well. For me, it's his rib and his body shape needs to be bolder and more robust. You open him up with his forerib, drop that sheep's flank down in him just a little. He's not bad in terms of his relation from the top of his shoulder to his chest forward. I think he's okay there. The problem is his just old belly and flank hadn't come into him yet as good. When he does that, I think he'll proportion better. There was times over here that sheep too just wants to be level in his deal. You'd maybe like to lift him up and run him uphill just a little more. Now I can tell you, if we're doing a weightlifting competition, here's your winner in fourth, because he's got as much muscle shape and power and stoutness of feature as anyone we've seen so far. We love those big burly fuzzy legs and his extra muscle shape. With that though, that guy's pretty coarse in terms of his build. He's round, and look at the point of his shoulder right there. Those of you behind me studying, his old shoulder gets out pretty far. It's a little tight there in his forerib. But man, that guy's powerful. I'd like to make him more unique from a balance standpoint from the side, like his old hip out, watch him go with the notch more flex off of his rear too as well. Weather coming out of here in 5 is pretty unique in terms of his pieces. I think he balances really good up high. He's probably as skinny as any of them out here right now. He's just not as hydrated in his handle, and you can see it as he gets rough in his loin to his hook bones. He wants to get easy in his top right now. I tell you, that's a sheep I wouldn't bet against him in 60 days, because I think as he matures and gets fatter, I think that one could put some awful neat pieces together. For me today, he's just a little green out here to run with those 2 ahead of him, but an awful nice one going out of here in 5. Some more sheep out here that have some quality, just some differences in muscle shape and balance today to get them up any higher. Kids are working hard out here, did a nice job. If you will, give them a round of applause.
First place, congratulations, Micah Elliott. Second, Delaney McLean. Third place, Sandra Klinger. Fourth, Tanner Dean. Fifth place to Zach Moore. Sixth, Eliza Dugan. Seventh place, Brock Freeman. Eighth, Madison Morgan. Ninth place, Brooklyn Allen. 10th, Piper John. 11th, Lily Moncrief. And their ring at this time, Class 5. Between 127 to 129.
Elliott and Delaney McClain in the holding arena. Mika Elliott and Delaney McClain in the holding arena.
Another really competitive class here, and some differences, but one we land on, I think he's a real logical place to start. This one puts some pretty incredible pieces together. When you study him from right here from the side, he is the most unique one in terms of his chest in relation to his flank underneath, if you want to call that his balance and proportion. And then you get up on top of him and he's as shapely, big hip, big-ended one here. This guy's as much true muscle and power as anyone out here. He's fresh, touch. That's an awful nice one to start this particular class. Take nothing away from the sheep in second. I like that one quite a bit as well. I don't think he maintains it quite as good in terms of his loin there. Wants to break in terms of tying into his hook bones. He's not as unique in terms of his chest placement there and right in the point of his shoulders, the one right ahead of him. But that's an awful nice sheep going out of here in 2. In 3 is one that's proportioned and balances as good as any. Young lady does a nice job getting that one stuck. I think he's got a nice silhouette from the side. I guess for me is when we step in behind him, he just needs to have more to him. He needs to be stouter and bolder to run with that pair ahead of him. But that's a nice sheep, just needs a shot more muscle to run with that pair. Coming out in 4th, young lady does have some more muscle. He's got something to him. We got him dialed in as well. She tries to fix him. You're a good showman. She wants to fix his loin, and that's where his problem is. He wants to get up in his spine. He's a little short right there at his hip and wants to break in his loin. It's because he wants to roll his spine up, and when we get him in motion, it becomes more apparent. But I love the body shape of that sheep. I love the width of skeleton he's got and the shape he brings to the table. One come out here, old smoke sheep here, presents a nice look from the side. I think when we get him into motion, he doesn't handle his rear tooth quite as well. Not nearly as powerful and as shapely as the ones ahead of him, but one that does present an awful nice look from the side when we get him stopped and standing still. A nice one to do you round up that top 5. Some more good sheep in here as well. Congratulations to all of them. Good job.
Your top 10 from class number 5, Abigail Prill in 10th, 9th, Peyton Brookshire, 8th, Madeline Clark, 7th, Kylie Nugent, 6th, Andrew Cox, 5th place, Carly Wright, 4th place, Cassidy Lynn, 3rd, Jane Freya, 2nd place, Christopher Turner, and in 1st, Dayton Morville. Now entering the ring is the Division I Champion Drive. So this is the first call for Class 6. First call, Class 6. Second call for Class 6, the Holy Arena. Second call, Class 6.
Well, I tell you, we got a lot of sheep to go through, and this first division, though, it meets all expectations. I guess you get out here. I didn't watch a lot of the sheep show last year out here, and when I had the chance to sort through the goats, and so they weren't exactly sure what I'm going to get into, but I know that without a doubt the quality is going to be really good, because this first division has been incredible. Really high quality set of sheep out here. There's some differences in them. As you look down the line, I never apologize when I judge a show, and there's some differences. Some of them may have been the prettiest one, some may have been the stylish one, but anytime that I can put those two things together, I think there's several of these sheep that do that extremely well, that are balanced very good, that have a tremendous amount of look and correctness from the outside, and then put together a tremendous amount of real muscle shape and power, and I think there's some of them out here that do that well. And then once you do that, I think it's the opportunity to add in a few wow factors. And for me out here, I think there's a pair of them, or really about 3 or 4 of them that just suited me very, very well in their respective classes. And I think within them there ends up being a pair that suits me the best today out here in terms of sheep that have the right kind of balance and power and some look to go with it. So I'll go out and shake the hand of your champion in reserve. But if you will, join me. Let's congratulate these young people on the excellent session.
Your Division 1 champion is Dayton Morvet out of Class 5, and out of your reserve champion came out of Class 2 and is exhibited by Braden Bars. While we're waiting for Class 6 to finish getting weighed, we'd like to take this time to thank some of our sponsors: YGB Layers, WW Rodeo Livestock Systems, Western Ag Light Media, leader of the Livestock, and Sullivan Supply. Now entering the ring is Class 6 of the Market Lands, Class 6 Market Lands. Again, there's a first call for Class 7 Market Lands, first call in Class 7 of the Market Lands show. Second call for Class 7. Second call, Class 7 Market Land Show. Please make your way to the holding ring. Class 8, be ready. Class 7 of the market lands. Final call, Class 7.
You know, a real intriguing pair here at the top of this particular class, and honestly they're very different, and they both bring some real positive attributes. The sheep we start with, I love his freshness, I love his touch, his handle out of his blade. I think he's still really correct in terms of his chest floor, his ankles, and turning him up front. I think what happens to this guy a little bit in this particular group is he weighs pretty heavy out here and he doesn't look overly big. And if we could change that, honestly, I think if he was down a class or two, he would probably look better because he's not overly big skeleton, but you study him from the side, his proportions are extremely good, his body shape is right, he's fresh as a daisy, really hydrated, good to the touch. I think he handles himself a little nicer than the sheep right behind him when we get him into motion that last time right at his hop. The sheep pair in second, definitely more extended, more unique in terms of his extra length, if you want to call him that. His sweep to his rib and his flank is very, very good. Honestly, of the top 5 or 6, he's the skinniest one out here. I think that sheep's got as much future as any we've seen. And you can see his own edges, the way he ties into his hook bones right now, not nearly as blended as well as the one right ahead of him or behind him. And I think he just needs to be fatter. And if that sheep gets that, man, he's got the right kind of look and feel. He runs uphill. Young lady's fighting a little bit, but you do a nice job. Hold your head up. She did a good job with that sheep. Coming out here in third is one that balances extremely well. When she walked in, that was garnered my attention because of the way he's made up front. You love that one, shoulder blade, his ankles there. He runs uphill. The way his chest is made and back into his flank. He needs to have more to him. When we get right in behind him, and like a 3/4 anchor, get your hands on him. He just needs to be boulder and square up high to run with that pair. But I still think a very, very nice sheep there in 3. In 4 is one I wanted to call him at times like my class winner because he is stout. He's very, very powerful. He's big back, he's square. Study him long enough though, and you'll start to see his shoulder blade gets more open. Of course, he wants to run downhill when we get him loose there. As you analyze him in relation back into his flank, he gets higher and tighter there. Now he is powerful. There ain't no question about that. The sheep is powerful and really, really opened up and stout to the ground. I just like to change his front third of his body and make it more unique there and get him up higher. I like him from there back quite well. The black sheep, the other end of the spectrum here, is you want to study him. We talk about one that's a later mature and the big one here that's got some extra length and extension. He needs to be cracked open through his chest for you. Study him coming at you. He needs to be bolder and wider there. Just open up with more width. Maybe like to take his neck and set it up just ever so slightly higher on the top of his shoulder as well. But I tell you, you get up on top of that sheep, he's got some muscle, he's got some extra length and extension to go with all that lateness and maturity. So challenge is set here, so lots of give and take, lots of differences. Good set though. Congratulations to all these young people that did that.
Your results for Class 6 in 10th place, Gavin Campbell. 9th, Carson Wagner. 8th, Riley Vermillion. 7th, Stockton Wade. 6th place, Cash Wade. 5th, Claire Marietta. Fourth, Austin Mayers. Third, Crystal McCollum. Second, Kendall Birch. And your Class 6 winner, Macy Beats. Now in the ring is Class 7 of the Market Land Show. First call for Class 8. Class 9, please be ready. 8, the Marketland Show, final call, Class 8. Class 9, start heading over.
You know, interesting said here, and it's a give and take in these sheep out here. Where you want to lay your preferences? We got one that wins it, though. He's by far and away the boldest in terms of his shape. Still athletic in his build. He's got a little extra set to his hind leg. I don't call him sickle hop, but he's got a little extra there. But when you study him, what sets him apart from the sheep in seconds, his body shape. The way his chest forward is designed back into his forearm and his midrib and his sweep to his body there, I think he gives you a better silhouette, particularly right about here when you study that pair of sheep. And then he's bold and square up high. He's really good as you watch him come at you and go away from you. If you want to pick on him, he could be longer and more extended up front. The sheep could run uphill a notch better, but I think at the end of the day, he's certainly good enough in my opinion. The sheep that's in second, he's wild back. He's big-ended here. Hard muscle sheep. Great handler, but it's his body though. We need to change his rib cage. If you study him right here, he's parallel at best. He's got a little bull back there in his flank to help his look there. But I think as you study that one, we need to drop his flank down, open up his forerib. He's one that maturity will be on his side with all that extra power. I think he gets around adequately as well when we watch him go. The blue sheep, I think, balances up extremely well. At the end of the day, he doesn't have near enough shape of muscle to run with that pair. Right out of his blade, he's too triangular right out of his shoulder. He does have some width, he just don't have that hard shape and expression of muscle that pair of sheep ahead of him has. I like his look though from the side. I like the big old fluffy legs on him. I think he presents a nice look there. She's got him presented awfully well also. The sheep coming out of here in 4, but she's got him propped up. I mean, he's deadly. That old white wool in there, he gives you a nice look from the side. For me, in this particular group, he's the one that looks the most mature, and it's when she doesn't get on the front of him is when you can see his faults. He's got a little more chest forward, sheep breastplate starting to get a little more pronounced. When we get him into motion, that becomes more evident. I do like that sheep from his shoulder back, his extra width there. I don't see him quite as hard handling either as some of those ones ahead of him. But if you want to switch him in 3, I can do that. Like I say, I'd like to change him, neaten him up in the point of his breastplate there. Sheep coming out in 5, just kind of grew on me the longer he stayed out here. He runs out of power though to run with those 4 ahead of him. I think he's level and square, relatively good in terms of his skeleton. Maybe turns his front knee out just a little when we get him into motion, but not nearly as powerful and as bold as some of those 4 ahead of him. But I still think a real practical, good kind of a sheep. We got some more in here, young lady's got another one there next. Another good looking one doesn't have quite enough shape. So good set of sheep here. Congratulations to all of these kids, they're working hard out here.
The top 10 from Class 7 are, in 10th place, Amy Dalton, 9th, Bella Alderson, 8th, Cassidy Bowman, 7th, Brooklyn Allen, 6th, Alexa Vermillion, 5th, Cassidy Taylor, 4th, Chloe Sandy, 3rd, Layton Watton, 2nd, Shady Tennant, and your Class 7 winner, Haley Seaman. Now in the ring, Class 8 market lambs, 138 to 139. First call for class 9, market lambs, 140 to 141. First call, class 9, market lambs. Class 10, please be ready. Remember that if you are consigning your animal for resale price, to have the packer copy of your weighing card turned in by noon tomorrow, by 4 p.m. tomorrow into guest services. Also, if you are by the exit gate of our show ring, at the end of a class, you need to move out of the way so that all exhibitors can get out. You can put on halters when you are farther away from the exit gate. Thank you. Second call for class 8, market lambs, weighing 138 to 139. Second call, class 8. My mistake, second call for class 9, weighing 140 to 141. Second call for 9. Class 10, please be ready. Last call for Class 9 market lands. Last call, Class 9 market lands, weighing 140 to 141 pounds.
tell you, again, we've talked about this a time or two. I'm certain everybody's got their favorites out here, and I wouldn't argue with you. I think this top trio of sheep right here are as challenging for me to sort through as any we've had, because each one of them has characteristics that makes them crazy good and exotic is what I would call them. The one that we start with, though, and I've talked about this all day, I like sheep that just are hard to pick flaws in, and this one does that extremely well. I think this one balances very good from the outside. I think he's got plenty of shape to go with it. He's not the biggest in his upper hip and his pen as any out here, but I like his body shape. I like the way he travels from underneath there. I think that sheep has a really, really nice silhouette from the outside. I think he does a lot of really positive things. He's not the wildest muscle. Possibly the wildest muscle sheep I've ever handled in judging a show is standing in second. And that is painful for me to say. I'll just tell you that. Because that dude is wild ribbed, is wild shape, good handling, big in his upper hip. That thing is a freak in his hip. But he's also probably the straightest legged one that I've got that high in a while. I'll just be honest with you. That sheep's shoulder blade is way too straight. It comes to his knee. You study him out of his hop. And that young man is a heck of a showman because he gets it out of him when we get him stopped. But when we get him into motion, his flaws become more apparent. If we change his structure, this ain't even a game, folks. I can tell you that one had that much power, that much shape and body, and to be that good looking. But we do got to fix him. He's just wrong at the ground for me today to beat that one ahead of him. The big sheep in here is in third, and that what you do with him, you either start him or you got to go third with him. And unfortunately for you young lady today, I put you third. I like that sheep, I really do. To me, he's just not even, he doesn't handle as good as the two ahead right over his loin edge. That sheep is big back, he's big ribbed, he's got the right kind of body shape, and I think his silhouette's very nice. I'd like to see pressure right over his loin edge as we get into handling. And then it's the way he comes out of his hooks to his pins when we get him into motion. He wants to drop his pins ever so slightly, gets a little straighter in his hip there and his hind leg when we put him into motion. One that runs uphill, though, as good as any. He is more exotic. He's a bigger statured sheep out here of those initial breeds. So if you like him the best, I'm not going to call you crazy. I think that sheep's very good. I do think that young lady's an awful good showman as well. Gets that one presented extremely good. I told the young man this might be one of the dumbest sheep I've seen in a while here, just in terms of his attitude. He kind of acts like my 3-year-old does when he ain't getting his way. This one don't want to show, but that's a good sheep. If you just study him from his chest into his flank, study his shape up high and his power out of his hip, that one's very, very good. He's still very immature in his look, honestly. I think that sheep could feed for a long time. In terms of his handle, he's not quite there. Not nearly as powerful as that trio ahead of him in terms of his width today, but I do like that one's kind of like his look and his balance. The one coming out in 5 does have a shot more muscle to him, and if you like that, you beat the one ahead of him, and I don't call you crazy. I call him bold in body, call him more open up. He's also shorter, more compact. He's blessed with a little bit of a gene that makes him a little smaller there, a little more compact in his build, a little quicker in terms of his maturity pattern. But man, he's a good handler with bold-bodied one that has a lot of really neat pieces there. And he's built right, good enough. Of those initial 5, he likes some balance and look to get any higher. Gray sheep coming out next. I will talk to him at least. I thought he was balanced up very, very well. At the end of the day, he'd run out of gas in terms of shape right out of his shoulder. I thought when he come in the ring, his balance and his look was extremely well. Next young lady's got another gray one there. He looked awful good. He was on the end down there when he come in. His neck set's a little wrong. The way it comes out the top of his shoulder, we need to lift that up on that guy just a little bit. But probably one of the deeper classes we had. Congratulations to all of them. Good job, guys.
The results from Class 8. In 10th place, Bryce Bain. 9th, Lauren Spett. 8th, Jessica Simpson. 7th, Catalina Cutshaw. 6th, Marissa Pendleton. 5th, Macy Lees. 4th, Austin Bell. 3rd, Katie Stone. 2nd, Hayden Schroeder. And your Class 8 winner, Brantley Hoover. the ring, Class 9, market lambs weighing 140 to 141 pounds. If we could have all first and second place exhibitors from Division 2 to report to ringside. All first and second place exhibitors. Macy Lees, Kendall Birch, Haley Seeger, Janie Tennant, Brantley Hoover, and Hayden Schroeder report to ringside. Macy Leeds, Janie Tennant, Brantley Hoover, and Hayden Schroeder, please report to ringside.
Well, I tell you, an interesting set here, some give and take. And I like both these sheep at the top end of this particular class, and I like them for different reasons. I tell you, the sheep that we start with, I think when he does collect himself, he does so the best from the outside. I think that's one that runs uphill. He's good in terms of the way his neck comes out the top of his shoulder. At times he wants to get a little lazy on the young lady, he wants to get easy in his back there, but I don't think that's the way he's built, because when we got him into motion a couple of times, he comes together nicely. That one's got a big old upper hip and pin in him from behind. I really like that sheep and the shape he's got. And I just think his shoulder, he's more athletic, more useful than the one right behind him. The sheep in second's the best handler one out here. In terms of right out of his shoulder, he's got a ditch in his back, and his squareness to his top, his cage is very, very good. We'd like to change him in the way he blends his loin into his hook bones there, but partially because he's got such a big hip, But more critically, that one wants to run downhill just a little bit, ever so slightly. When we get him into motion, I think he moves as good as any of them out here in terms of his feet and legs. I just like to make that one taller at the point of his shoulder, collect him to run him uphill, and then blend his loin there into his hook bones just a little nicer. The sheep in third, he presents a nice silhouette. I like the balance that guy's got. At the end of the day, though, in terms of his true muscle shape, he's not as powerful as the two ahead of him. Doesn't handle quite as nice, but I do think he's got a nice look. His pattern is good. His feet and legs go with it awfully well, too, when you put him together. We just need to give him a nice more shape. The sheep come out here in fourth. The young lady's working hard with him. This was probably the skinniest one of those initial 5, and then that's where he falls out for me. I love that one's look. I think his chest floor's shoved up in him. I think he's very useful. I think his pattern is extremely good. When you study him though long enough, he wants to get a little high in his loin there. He's the most washed out and the rawest in terms of his edges right now of those ones ahead of him, and that's where we change him. But I think that sheep is very, very good. Just doesn't quite handle, put it together as good as those trio ahead of him. One coming out of here in 5. This one got a nice look. She gets him stuck there. I think he comes together extremely well. When we got him into motion, I didn't read him quite as well as I did some of the ones ahead of him. I think he falls out there, not quite as shapely, not as bold in terms of his forearm and his width at the ground when you watch him go away from you. But nonetheless, a nice sheep to round out that top 5. Young man's got one standing over there in 6 and kind of come out here. Another good built one there, good leg one. Getting a little softer, not quite the terminal shape you see in some of them ahead of them. But a nice pair. You guys are working hard there, next couple in line. So congratulations to all of them. Nice job.
Top 10 from Class 9. In 10th place, Audrey Cowlins. 9th, Casey Pierce. 8th, Aslan Helms. 7th, Rowdy Campfield. 6th, Pierce Lawhorn. 5th, Lauren Swan. 4th, Paige Autry. 3rd, Kaylin Klein. 2nd, Caitlin Campman. And your Class 9 winner, Delaney McLean. Now entering the ring is your Division II Champion Drive. First call for Class 10, Market Lands. First call, Class 10, weighing 142 to 143 pounds. At this time, we want to thank some of our sponsors for our Sheep and Goat Show. Stokes, Showcoat, and Showwood. Second call, Class 10, market lambs weighing 142 to 143 pounds. Second call, Class 10, market lambs.
I'll just tell you folks, I thought that the first division was really good, and I thought there was a pair of them to sort it out. I thought this division has had a lot of really high quality sheep out here. I think y'all done a nice job of getting sheep ready that are still youthful, that are fresh, and handle extremely good. There's some differences in this lineup, I'd say, as much as probably more than I deem probably ideal for me in terms of just the type and kinds. There's just some changes out here as you look down the line. I do think that we need to slow down here and just talk about them ever so slightly so you at least see what I see. And I'm not going to say that my opinion's ever right. I think everybody's got one, and you got your favorites out here, but hopefully you can see what I see, and then I'll tell you how I like them. We'll just talk about them quickly. The one out of the first class there, man, he's wild back. He's good handling, he's stout featured. He's not overly big. We talked about him in class. I'd love to see him down a class or two weight-wise, because he is plenty short and kind of compact, but man, he's stout. The one that was second to him was a little greener in his condition. Wild looking one. That one's got a extremely good future ahead of him. The next class, young lady's got one that's wild back. He's big, fresh, handling one here. Got a big old hip and end in him, and I think he presents himself real nicely. He's got that extra set to his hind leg. He's not overly big either in his kind. Maybe wants to play just level in his build, but I think he's certainly got a nice look, and he's one that's something into consideration out here. Sheep that was second to him, like to change his body just a little bit, but that was wild, hipped and muscle. We get to the third class, and there was a trio of them in that particular class, and I hate we had to leave one out of that because I thought all three of those sheep were good. The one that won that class, I called him Fault Free. He's not the shallowest one we've seen, he's not the wildest back one, but he's fresh, he's good handling, and he's got a nice look, and he's sound at the ground. I think a lot of things that are necessarily hard to do at all times for their sheep today. The one that was second to him, we called him maybe the wildest muscle one. I don't know how that I've seen it in a while, but man, he isn't the best structured when you go with it. You got to determine where you want to lay your priorities. That one's got a wow factor though in terms of his muscle shape, in terms of his width at the ground, and in terms of his width of his chest, his power. He's elite in terms of those regards. I just wish that one moved a little better. The one out of the fourth class here, man, he's giving this young lady a fit. This is a good sheep. I tell you, I think this is another one like the one right ahead of him. He's sound, he's good in his feet and legs, he's big and bold in his upper hip. He's not the wildest bodied one out here. If we pick on him, we'd like to just maybe crack him open right there in his forearm ever so slightly. We call his underline good. He's not great in terms of his balance. The sheep he beat, though, I think he was better in terms of his top line. You can see that one that was in second. Man, he is wild up high. He's got a ditch in his back, but that one needs to be just a little shallow and cooler from the side. So I don't know which one is your favorite out here. I got my favorite, though, and then the reserve's going to be a little closer for me. But I do think a tremendously high-quality set of sheep. I commend you folks for bringing them out here and giving me a chance to sort through them today. I'll show you my favorite, and then we'll find your reserve. Give these young people a nice round of applause.
is out of Class 8, exhibited by Brantley Hoover. Your Division II Reserve Champion was Delaney McLean out of Class 9. Exhibitors, don't forget that make sure you have your photos taken by our media interns. Result photos are shared with industry publications and are available for free download. If you head over to WeKnowLivestock.com, you can get free downloads of the photos from Arizona National Livestock Show. Thanks to our friends at Showroom. Also, if you have a market animal that is not going to be in the auction, you can sell it at the resale price, but you need to turn in your packer copy of your weigh-in card to guest services by 4 p.m. tomorrow. Now in the ring is Class 10 of our market lambs, weighing 142 to 143 pounds. This is the first call for Class 11, 144 to 145 pounds. First call, Class 11, Class 12, please be ready.
I tell you folks, we've had good sheep come through the ring all night long or all day so far, and I'm sure there's going to be some more good ones, but this is an extremely good pair of sheep right here to win this class in first and second. I tell you, they both are unique, they're both exotic, they're both wildly good. They're different. As you study them, you got to have your preferences there. That one that wins it, I tell you, he's a freak. He's shallow, good body, big-headed, and fresh as a daisy. He's just bolder and wider everywhere you study him than the one right behind him. And I still think he proportions extremely good from his chest back into his flank. I think his neck comes out where it should. And I think he's so sound in motion is where he sets the bar out here. That one's got some just really, really pieces that are hard to do. The one in second, maybe wildly better looking right up front. He's taller at the point of his shoulder for sure. If you just want to talk about him running uphill, I love that about him. One that's really good and hard to the touch and handle. He's not as bold and as big in his upper hip in terms of his pin shape and his stifle. He wants to bounce his loin up ever so slightly when we get him in motion versus the one right ahead of him. But I'm picking on a sheep that would have smoked a lot of classes we've seen out here today. So you just run into a really, really good one right ahead of you. I do like that sheep a whole bunch of them, man. You just need to be awfully proud of him. That's a close pair, two sheep that are extremely, extremely high quality. Coming in third, young lady, you got a nice one here. He's a good sheep, but he just run into two dragons out here today. He gets slaughtered out here. One that comes out that's got some width and some muscle. He's good body, not nearly as cool up front, not nearly as exotic in terms of his underland, and not as raw and hard, and his muscle shape and power is that pair ahead of him. But I do like his extra width. I like his body shape, particularly his immaturity, better than the one that's going to come out in 4. The young lady's got one there. It's kind of a gray tinted one. He's big and wide. He's got the great kind of feet and legs in him. We need to change his body shape ever so slightly. That sheep also gets more mature, a little thicker, plainer about his head and neck there for me. But one that still has a lot of positives. Sheep coming out in 5 here. From his shoulder back, I like him quite well. I think his body shape reads very good. It's fresh to the touch and big in his pin, his hip. We need to change his shoulder design quite a bit. He's too low in the point of his shoulder. He's too low in his neck set, too coarse and plain up front. But still another high quality one going out of here. Nice job. Congratulations to all these exhibits.
Results from Class 10 in 10th place, Chandler Carson. 9th, Kilby Meyer. 8th, Luke Sawyer. 7th, Capri Harris. 6th, Cassidy Bowman. 5th, Kendra Smith. 4th, Claire Murrieta. 3, Jordan Helms. And 2nd, Shane Smith. And your Class 10 winner, Madison Rule. Now entering the ring is Class 11, weights 144 to 145. First call for Class 12, weighing 146 to 147. First call, Class 12 at Market Rams. 13, please be ready. Second call for class 12, market lambs weighing 146 to 147. Second call, class 12. Tiffany Sunday, please report to the holding area. Tiffany Sunday, report to the holding area.
You know, another one of those classes, I'm starting, there's lots of different favorites out here. And the one thing I'll tell you is the sheep I start with, he's yet to give me a bad look. That one just has a presence when he walked in here. The way he runs uphill, that sheep designed extremely good. He's not the most powerful one, but that one does have plenty of shape up high right out of his shoulder. And then I think as you analyze him in motion, is where he sets the bar apart. The sheep that handles the best is standing in second. And we put several of them there today, and I hate to pick on him, but this is another one. When she props him up, she gets it stuck. He's dynamite from the side. His profile, his rib cage, his back shape is extremely good. That one's fresh. When we get him into motion, he wants to tuck down his front end. He wants to pull and go down. Wants to get his loin up and drop his pins ever so slightly. If we correct that up front, I think that one could certainly be a push to win this class. That's where I change him mainly is up front. Just right there in the shoulder, we get him into motion. And it's a little bit the way his neck comes out the top of his shoulder. It's a little bit low there versus the one ahead of him. We change that. That one's an awful good sheep from there back. The blue one, it's got some exotic pieces, and I'll just tell you, this one in terms of his upper hip and stifle is wild. I mean, that one is really, really big. He's good bodied. He needs to be just ever so slightly shallower right at the point of his blade, and he is honestly just green. I mean, that sheep just needs time. If you study him over his loin, the way he ties into his hook bones, he's the rawest and skinniest out here today. I think that sheep just needs to come together a little nicer there for me and just be fatter, honestly. I think he would come together because his hip and stifle, his base width at the ground, his foot and bone, he doesn't want to show quite right either because he wants to break there, and it makes it more apparent when we get him on a profile. But that is an extremely, extremely high quality trio of sheep there. Young lady, don't hold your head down about that one. Be proud of that sheep nonetheless. The one coming out here in forward, balance is extremely good. He doesn't have near the shape and power right out of his hip and his stifle. So the ones ahead of him, I think you can appreciate sheep though that are built like that from the outside, has the right kind of silhouette and presence. One coming out of here at 5's another one. He doesn't look bad from the side. As you study him real long enough, he's probably the plainest about his forearm, probably the deepest up to his chest, tucks up into his flank a little higher than would be ideal. Nice set of sheep here though. Challenging trio on the top there. Congratulations to all of you.
We'll go walk.
Results from class 11. In 10th place, Sarah Dyke. 9th, Lacey Borelli. 8th, Olivia Sandy. 7th place, Lori Wade. 6th place, Katie Matsumoto. 5th, Bailey Lake. 4th place, Layton Laud. 3rd place, Lexi Hunt. 2nd, Kira Elliott. And your class 11 winner is Anna Vetter. Now entering the ring is class 12, Market Lambs, weighing 146 to 147 pounds. First call for class 13, weighing 148 to 149 pounds. First call for class 13. Class 14, please be ready. Second call for class 13, Market Lands, weighing 148 to 149 pounds. Second call, class 13. Final call, class 13, market lambs. Final call, class 13.
Well, another good class here, but to be quite honest with you folks, the one that wins this class just kind of come in and kick the door down and say, get you some, because this one's pretty good. We've seen some good ones, and this one he'll rival some of them we've seen. This one balances extremely good from the side. He handles like a freight train. Big back in him, big in it, runs uphill. That's an awful nice sheep that wins this class. From there, you got to sort the rest of them, because there's some differences in them. The young lady that stands second for me, I think's got a sheep that puts together a lot of positives in terms of his balance and his design. He's good, hard handling, and heavy muscled. I think his body shape right. He just runs into one that's got a whole lot of power right ahead of you. But that's an awful nice sheep going out here too. Not nearly as stout and as cracked open as the one that wins this particular group though. The sheep in third, young man, that just shows you in life. You just stick with it, don't give up. But I didn't pull you on my initial sort, but the more I studied this sheep, he just fought free. I tell you, he's good at handling one. Fresh, he's designed enough. He's not nearly as powerful as the ones that's either side of you, but man, it's hard to pick holes in him. And good livestock's just good livestock, and I think that's where he fits the bill. Fought free today for me. He hung in there and got him a nice third place finish. Sheep coming out here in fourth certainly presents itself very nice from the side. This one, you get up on top of him, he's wide and cracked open. He's like myself though, he's been eating good. He's got a little extra condition on him. He's a little plainer up through his front end and his chest score there. We trim him up, he probably moves up a spot or two in this particular group. Sheep coming out of here in five. Another one, you like the levelness of his line, the squareness right out of his dock. You read him there, I think it's very good. You study him too long though from behind, his pin gets pretty narrow as you watch him go away from you. You need to crack that one open up out of his hip, give him more shape down through his lower leg and his stifle to run with those four ahead of him. That's still a nice sheep going out of here in five though. Nice set, congratulations to all of them. Good job, guys.
Your results from class 12. In 10th place, Ainsley Delmore. 9th, Leah Kelly. 8th place, Jesse Ward. 7th, Paige Autry. 6th, Casey Pierce. 5th, Kristen Smith. 4th, Tiffany Sunday. 3rd place, Trey LaRocco. 2nd, Jade Perea. And your class 12 winner, Nicole Zuber. Now entering the ring is class 13 market lambs, weighing 148 to 149 pounds. This is the first call for the Division III Champion Drive. From class 10, we need Madison Rule and Shane Smith, Anna Vetter, Kira Elliott, Nicole Zuber, and Jay Perea. If you were first or second in class 10, 11, or 12, please make your way to the holding ring. Second call for the first and second place exhibitors from classes 10, 11, and 12 to the holding ring. Second call. Madison Rule, Shane Smith, Anna Vetter, Nicole Zuber, Jade Perea, make your way to the holding ring for the champion drive.
Man, a trio of sheep here that I think is good. And I don't want to re-echo anything I've talked about earlier today, but I think this trio is as nice and just in terms of quality as we've seen. I think they're all very, very good. And I think the young ladies here that starts this class just hits me pretty good from the side. I think that was balancing his proportions, his skeleton is right, the way his chest floor reads back into his flank. I'm not going to call him any heavier muscle than the two behind him, or particularly the one in second. I'll call him as good and fresh in his touch. I love the way that one runs uphill, his balance, his rib cage, his flank, and sweep to his rib there. I think he's got more than enough muscle. I think that one puts some unique pieces together in terms of his feet and legs and a balanced look. The sheep in second may be more powerful, particularly down through his lower leg and his stifle there. He's the boxy hip one here, really square. I read him though a little plainer through his shoulder versus the one right ahead of him. He's level at best. He doesn't run uphill, not quite as good right in the point of his shoulder and his chest floor as the one right ahead of him. But from there back, he's a truck, and he's a good handling one to go with it. Very fresh and out in today. I think an awfully high quality one going out here too. The sheep in three, I love him from right here. I'll just be honest. This is the one when he walked in, he gathered my attention quite quickly. I guess the longer and longer I studied him, I just like to make him bolder and bigger right here from behind, like at a 3/4 angle. His rib cage is good, not nearly as impressive though as the two right ahead of him. I'd like to make him bigger and bolder right there at his upper hip and his pin, but I think that one's profile from the side is out there, and I think that one is just the kind of sheep for me that I think we need to make. I'd just like to see that one a notch stouter to run with that pair, but I'm not saying that was an easy decision. I think that was three sheep that maybe could be switched around. Wouldn't argue with you at all, because I think those are three really, really high quality ones. The sheep in fourth, there's pieces about him that I love. I like the shape out of his shoulder. I like the hard muscle that he brings. He needs to be better bodied though. That sheep needs to drop down into his midriff, just bolder and be more expansive about his center body, right there into his heart girth. One that profiles okay. We need to lift his neck up just a little higher at the top of his shoulder, blend him together up high. But he handles really good. The fresh one there is really square out of his hip, and his handle very good right over his rack. Sheep coming out here in five is a big, bold, square one. Gets a little plainer versus some of those ahead of him. As you study his profile from a balance standpoint up front, we need to lift him up in his chest floor there, make him a little neater, even though he does run uphill to compensate for that a little bit, ever so slightly. So challenges set here. That top trio was elite though. Congratulations to all of them. Nice job.
First call, class 14, market lambs, weighing 150 pounds. First call, class 14, 150 to 151 pounds. Now entering the ring is the Division III champion drive. this time, we'd like to take a moment and thank our sponsors for the Sheep and Goat Show. Sanderson Ford RV Rental Outlet, Red Angus Association of America, Mountain States Wholesale Nursery. Also, the division champion buckles are sponsored by Garrett Ham, and the banners are sponsored by Kevin Bluequist.
Folks, what a set of sheep here. This gets exciting. If this can't make your blood run, I don't know what can do it for you. Yeah, give them a round of applause. They deserve it. Heck of a set of sheep. You know, and any chance I get to evaluate a show, and I know we got 2 divisions left. I don't want to get too long-winded here, but any chance we get, I want to make sure at the end of the day that I'm not trying to please nobody else but myself. And at the end of the day, I want to go home and lay my head on the pillow and be confident that I found the ones that suited me the best. And I really believe there's 8 sheep out here that are elite in terms of their quality, that are hard to build, they're hard to make, and they're extremely, extremely good. And I'm certain this late in the year, a lot of these sheep have been shown different places, and I'm sure they've had success at different levels. You know, you pick the ones you like here. I'm just extremely excited to get them out here, to look down this lineup and see the consistency from the first division class there right on down the line. And man, I'm telling you, this whichever ones we use tomorrow at the end of the day when we get out here for a champion drive, man, that's going to be fun. We're going to have some good divisions because I tell you, a tremendous set of sheep. I don't want to talk about all these guys. I don't want to take that much of your time up, but I do want to just say that tremendously high quality set, but there's a pair of them out here that hit me hard. I mean, I'm telling you, and if you listen to my little interview when they come out this summer, I'm a big guy on first impressions. I think that means everything to me. And there's 2 sheep out here that I'm not sure in all reality which one did I just love more, but I like them both a whole bunch. And I tell you, for a guy that tries to raise a few and has a boy that shows them, these are the kind we want to do. Now, realistically, I'm not raising these kind. I'm not foolish enough to tell you that I am, so don't think that. But, you know, certainly have those goals one day. So commend all of you. Tremendous, tremendous set of sheep in this particular division. It was a tough division. A lot of these classes were good. I'll go out and show you my favorite 2. I wouldn't argue with you which ones you like the best out here, but if you will, join me. Give these kids a nice round of applause. Heck of a set of sheep.
Your Division III champion out of Class 12 is Nicole Zuber. And out of Class 10, your reserve champion is Madison Rule. Now entering the ring is Class 14, weighing 150 to 151 pounds. This is the first call for Class 15, weighing 152 to 153. First call, Class 15.